Live. Good morning to you. Today we're gonna have a little conversation about what my brain's been doing the last week. Because I've been sitting here getting right with my shoulder. Look at this thing. Oh, crazy. It's ready to rock and roll, y'all. So a week ago, about a week ago, I got my shoulder redone. Well, I don't know if it was redone. I had a whole scope that came in, cleaned it up, and it's much better now. I feel way better. Do you like trading? I don't like trading, to be honest. I'm not a big trader. Not that I don't like it, but I'm not a big trader. But trader, interesting. Trade. I don't trade Bitcoin and stuff like that. Anyway, let's get into this today. In my time, I had a chance to do a whole lot of stuff. I got a lot of work done. What's up, Davis the coach? Man, I got a lot of work done, man. I started got the book done. So the book is out, back to the publisher. This is the first round of edits back. We're going to see what the editor comes back with. Good morning, Nancy Ness Smith. Here's what the editor comes back with. That's kind of fun. I've been working on some content in the background. We launched a whole new company called the Content Code. If you want to know what the Content Code is, real brief, it's a company that I figured out, like my team, we do a really good job with content. And a lot of people ask how we make it. How do you do it? How do you get all this stuff out consistently? Just so you guys know, my team and I, we do a great job of thinking of ideas to create stuff, and then we put it out into the world. But the way it works is like I think of it with my team, and then they come film it, and then they put it out to the world. Like I don't even see it till it comes up online. And a lot of people are like, man, it take a lot of weight off my shoulders if somebody could in fact do that for me. I was like, yeah, it might. So we started talking to people like, I like that. So if you want to know about the Content Code and possibly being one of our first 10 clients that we're going to cap at 10 for a while to make sure things dialed in, reach out to me. Just message me the Content Code. Outside of that, here's what I found out. Good morning. Thank you, Danny Chosen, Trujillo Chosen. I realized as a reminder, it had a reminder to actually, good morning, Usha. I had a reminder to take my nootropics. I take this thing called Brain. I forgot it. Isn't that weird? I took something so I don't forget things, but I forgot this one. It's by On It. I can't think of what it is. It's like Brain Warrior or something crazy. Anyway, so here's how I started thinking about the story. Like this thing is like, what's the journey been like? You know, for me in this whole like build up to this whole thing. I want you guys to grasp the actual journey of this because I think there's a lot that's missed in the process of kind of how this thing builds. A lot of people, I think, there's an assumption of like, we just create social media, you put social media pictures and posts up there, and all of a sudden the business grows. And there's this weird, I think, assumption, even when you get into the space of speaking and coaching, that it's just you go out there and you talk about stuff like this. People assume like this is the business. Like I have friends and family who have no idea what I do. And it's like, oh man, like I get that you're not in the space, but when you get into this space, you really got to know what's going on. And I find that some people are like, well, I want to be a coach or a speaker, but they're kind of like, they have a service or an offering, but it's not an actual speaking or coaching business, right? They may provide the service, but it's not an actual business. There's a difference between being in business and having a business. Being in business means you can exchange a value. You can pay me money, I can do a service. Being a business means I own an asset that actually is doing things that makes me revenue, and I can go take a vacation, I can hire other people, that kind of thing. And there's a difference, and most people don't grasp that, right? So when I first started, I didn't get that. Like I was just like, oh, I'm gonna go out there and start talking, and all of a sudden people are gonna hire me to do Alpha Brain. Thank you, Danny. It is called Alpha Brain, damn it. Smart man. Look at that. It hasn't kicked in yet. Maybe it's what it is. It hasn't kicked in, Danny. So it is like, maybe there's something like, that I can figure out like to get this thing moving. So I was doing stuff and it really wasn't growing. And I was like, man, what's going on? And in a little while, I took a step back. I was like, let me take a picture, snapshot of what goes on in this whole world of what it is that I do. And I saw some really interesting through lines. And I'm going to tell you this story. And I want you to see if you find yourself in this, if you've ever tried to be a speaker or be a coach. You could be doing anything business-wise, but I want you to literally hear this. Titus, what's up, my man? And I want you to say, like, do you hear yourself in here? Because if you do, that means something. And I want to give you some nuggets of information today so you can actually go, okay, I'm going to move it forward. So here's how it worked. I was like, all right, I want to put my message into the world. I want to start doing things. I want to start coaching, speaking, talking, putting some things out there, right? So I started going out and I realized, man, I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. I'm just saying, I had a nightly 90 and I was like, I don't even know if am I putting anything that's relevant out there? So I first had to do this one thing that most people don't actually do. I had to get to the point of not just telling my story, but actually understanding my client's story. Big, right? I need to understand what's the story in their head. What are they telling themselves? What are they experiencing? What are they struggling with? What are the joys? What are their love? What's going on in their life? What is their story, right? Because if I could find their story and then I could actually use my story, I could merge the two to find value. Because that's what most people don't do. They start telling their story all day. Here's what I experienced. Here's what I did. Here's what I experienced. Here's what I did. And it's like, yeah, I get that, man. How does that help me? So I wanted to know, like, how does their story help me? And I was like, oh man, like that's the thing. Most people that get into this space don't realize it's not about you and your story. It's cool, right? But unless you're gonna make a movie someday, like we need to know how this helps me. How does your story help my life, right? So it's like, okay, first we have to figure this piece out. How in the world does my story and your story attach to you and go, here's the value of this? And you can frame it to me so I go, oh, I get why if I learned how to do that thing that you did, it would help my life. Great. Next question. How do I do that then, Anthony? Oh man, most speakers, if I ask them, okay, how exactly does somebody, so maybe you are a mindset elevation coach, making this up. How do you elevate your mindset? Oh, well, I talk to people on the phone and okay, well, what does that look like? Well, we talk about the problems they deal with in the structure and you know what it is? They have no process. You ask me, how do I help people make a shift? I use the shift method. Clean, clear, simple, done, right? Took me years to get that. And here's why. Most people that are into speaking and coaching don't realize you got to have your own method you've extracted from your story. I look at your story and say, okay, great. How did you do that? You should be able to decide that this. And that's exactly how you do it, by doing this. And then I can talk about it on a speech on a stage in a really cool story. I can talk about it and as value to it because you're learning as I talk to you. There's a coaching program behind it. There's a guidance structure, no guesswork, right? And there's an online course possible if you want to go online evergreen course. But there's got to be something in place to when somebody joins you, they go, oh, that's how I can get the result of what you just talked about. That sounds amazing. That's great. It's a great process, right? If you don't have a framework, a proprietary process behind your method to where, listen to this, listen, to where at some point you could move yourself backwards and teach somebody else to teach your method, you do not have a coaching business. Repeat this. If you don't have a method that you can teach someone to teach, you don't have a method yet. You just have you coaching and you're offering a service, but you don't have a business yet. It's a really difficult place to be. How did you go from, oh, even better. This question just popped up. That was a phenomenal question. It says, how did you create opportunities to listen and communicate with your prospective clients? RSD Will, dude, asking the right questions. Here's the next part of it. I almost like you got set up in the audience poll there. So now I'm like, all right, I got to have a method. Someone said I created the mission method. Beautiful. Farmer Mima's got a mission method. Now we go to the next piece. Okay, I got this cool method, Anthony. All right, well, how do I deliver that method? Because I can talk to you about it, but how's it delivered? And most people, what they do, listen to this, they go and they make it. I'm filming a bunch of videos, I'm doing PDFs, I'm making the website, and it all sounds good and well. Here's the thing, it does sound good, but here's the massive problem. What if nobody wants to buy it? What if nobody wants to buy this thing? You just spent time, energy, and money building this thing, and nobody wanted to buy it. Right, so what I'm really big on is like you don't even think about making it or spending time on it until you've purchased it. Someone's purchased it. When they've bought it, now there should be a process you go through. They walk them through the framework. You already know the process. Just walk them through it in the beginning because at that point, now all of a sudden people can know what it is, right? You don't make it, but then, okay, how do I get people to purchase it? Oh, the next question. Do you have a repeatable conversation structure that when someone gets on the phone, they're presented the same offer the same way so you know if it works or not, or if it actually is resonating with them? Think about it. When you go into McDonald's, what do they have? A menu. What's the same every time any customer comes? The experience of buying from the menu. It's the same thing. It's all there every time. So in your business, if it's a business, if you don't have a process that's like walking people through every single time, we start with this question, then they answer this question, then I ask this question, they answer this question, then I ask this question, all the way through. What happens is you might have a great month and might have a horrible month next month because you're just kind of winging it on conversations. And then you can't ever remove yourself from a sales conversation because essentially you have no process to it. It's not a business. Like you got to actually get a process you can teach other people like, hey, look, here's what my outcome is. Here's my story. Here's my value. Here's what I do. Here's the process we use. Here's a skeleton so you can talk about it in a sales conversation. Here's exactly how you have that sales conversation. And then they can put somebody else onto that and you can go focus on other parts of the business, right? Most people, speakers and coaches, don't have this. I would venture to say like 90% because they're just speaking. It's not an actual business. Then we get to the fun part of it all. Let's say you get all that in place. Let's say I'm telling my story, man. Let's say that you get to the point of having your story, you know their story. Let's say at the same time you get to the point of maybe you got the framework in place. You know your skeleton. Okay, great. All that stuff's there. Now what? Now comes the scary work. See, the first work I call safe work. It feels good. Like it's safe almost. Like I don't feel so scared or so bad. No one's seeing this. And I planned it, but no one's actually talking to me about it. But here's where it gets so scary. You have to go to somebody and go, hey, I made this thing from my brain and I want you to pay me a lot of money for it. That's a scary thing. Okay. The first time I did, I was like, oh, it's going to cost you $500, right? That was back then. That was a lot of money back then for what I was doing. And I was like, $500? And it's weird because you're like, I don't really know if it's going to work 100%. Like maybe it does. It might. Like I don't know what's going on. It got very, very difficult. And it was kind of interesting for me to go to the level of saying, oh, well, yeah, pay me for this. So what most people do is they don't generate leads or establish a relationship. And they have no idea how to, right? There should be something in place for your business that's consistently getting people to start the process of conversation with you to lead to that sales conversation you finally thought through. If you don't have a process I'm talking consistently talk to people, like consistently be in conversation, you have no business. You are hoping that this month somebody reaches out because they like a social media post you made, and you hope you can get to a conversation where maybe they'll ask about what you do, and then maybe they'll get a phone call, and then maybe they'll pay you some money for your services, and then you have to keep doing your regular job because you never actually make it a business. It's so crazy because this is the process so many people go through because there's not a definitive structure in place as to how I'm going to have people on conversations. And even if I do get their email and I talk to them for a little bit, then guess what they do? I don't initiate it now, and then they fall away, and I feel like, oh, I suck because nobody wanted to talk to me anymore. No, they didn't, because they don't even know who you are. And it's because you have no nurturing process in place. We send emails every day of the week, 5 days a week, not 7 days, but 5 days. And I do it because I'm consistently nurturing people that know who I am, have conversations, because I've had people follow me and be in my email for a year before they even responded and joined the program. A year. Can you imagine if I didn't continue the process? They would have been clients. I wouldn't have changed their life, right? There's got to be something in place. And then here, once you got all that done, you got the lead gen process, you had that nurturing process. This, my friend, is the only moment in time I believe you should really dig into social media. Think about what I started with. Everybody goes out and they put everything on social media, say, here's my videos and my stuff and come, this is my business. They just stop right there. They spend 70% of their time making social media content. 70% of their time. And I look at it and go, why? Why? If you're making all that, why? Well, what's the end result? So you make an impact? Totally get that. Can you really make an impact if you have to spend the majority of your time doing something else to bring in revenue for your business? There's only so much time you can give to this thing that you're called to do. So what I realize is a lot of people, if they're flipping it around, they're going, let me go on social media and talk about my stuff, and eventually I'll make enough money somehow to then invest in the business front end, and then I'll build that when the time comes. And it's like, no, absolutely not. Like if you really want to make it a business, what I learned is I had to almost pause the majority of my social media. I needed to go back into we'll call it the war room, right? I had to go back into the lab and create all of this. I had to figure out what in the world is my story and how does it resonate with certain people and who is that person, right? What's their aspirations? Okay, then what's my methodology? What's my framework that I know will work? Okay, how do I skeleton this thing up to where like I can talk about it without having built it first and wasting time and money? What does that conversation look like? What are the questions I ask? What's the flow I go through? And then, okay, great. How do I start talking to people? What's the lead generation process? What am I doing that if I do social media, I'm sending people to so they'll actually be able to have a conversation with me? And then if I do get their contact info and they don't want to join now, how do I continue to keep having a conversation over time where eventually they go, hey, I like what it is you do. Once I have that in place, once you have that in place, now you spend all the time you want on social media because there's a purpose there. Because you know in the video you do, you can call them to action. Always. There's always something to go to. I'm going to show you like a shameless plug. If I want to right now, go to that link, trucksteam.com, www.trucksteam.com. This right here, what I'm talking about, this is like, I do this social media, but just so you know, every day, what do I do at the end of it? Hey, go to this link or this link or this link. We have 3 links in the company that leads you to a place to start a conversation with us. That's honestly the majority of what I focus on, because it's like, I love talking and sharing, and I know not everybody's gonna click a link, and that's totally okay. It's not the only reason I do it. I love doing this, but the reality is, I can do this with a purpose because I know that, hey, we have links that if I look at it and go, hey, we did a live stream and 3 or 4 people joined our programs. Great. It was useful for the company, and those who didn't join got value, right? That's got to be in place for you. And if you don't have that in place, you're hoping, right? You're hoping that people like you because they see your stuff. And here's the crazy thing. If people always ask me, Anthony, how do you grow your social media following? You grow your clientele. That's it. You grow your clients, because guess what? When you have new clients, they follow you. Their colleagues or their friends follow you. And then you get asked to go speak and talk because you're making differences in lives. And so you go and talk on stage, and people in the stage and the audience follow you, and then their friends follow you, right? It's not just all content. The algorithm is so super weird. Like, it's not always built off great content. I promise you, like, we make phenomenal stuff that a lot of the world never sees, right? 99 point something percent of people never will see my stuff. But those who are supposed to see it. And the way my social media following has grown was like, I didn't just focus on social growth. I focused on impact. How do I have a business in place that actually is making a difference in people's lives? And when you do that, the following is a byproduct. People, they want to follow those making a difference and actually doing the work, not those who post, I'm a coach and a speaker on their bio, and they have 0 to 100, some maybe 1,000, a couple thousand followers, and they're not really doing anything different than every other person like them. You know what's different? Having a business, an actual business, not being in business, having a business. That's the difference, because so many people don't have that. So today I gave you guys some game. I'm gonna call it that. I put you up on game. I dropped the real information on you. This is the stuff that if you're looking to actually build this, I was this whole last week just sitting down in the background thinking through all the stuff that I do and the people I get to help. I'd like a hiatus to work on some things. My brain sat back, it's like, what is that thing that so many people aren't doing that if I was to talk about it would help them maybe get clarity to actually understand what to do next? And this was a thought that came into my head. And a lot of it, it's like we have the information, people. You know what to do. You know what to do. Like, to be honest, if you don't know what to do, reach out to me. Literally, if you don't know what it is you're supposed to do, we have a program for this. I have an actual program called the Shift Incubator that uses my Shift method for personal transformation and the Shift Business Blueprint for building a speaking and a coaching business, where you have a keynote, a coaching program, and a course live and online in under 90 days that is operational. Covers everything I just talked about, even social media. Right? If you have a curiosity, right, that just DM me the word incubator, like incubator. It's the perfect environment to grow, hence the incubator. But that's it. If you don't have any idea and you want some guidance, we got you. But outside of that, to be honest, a lot of the things it's free information in the world. It's just a matter of, are you doing it? Are you building it? Now the problem is typically there's a lot to do. There's more of a problem of what not to do than what to do. But man, if you want to know what to exactly do and what not to do, reach out to me. I'll help you. If not, man, if you're saying, I want to take a message to the world, the most important thing you can do, I'm serious right now, is start going through the process of what I just talked about. What's your real story? Like, how can you extract your story in a way that you can see the value for other people? What is the other person's story? My story is like yours. Here's what I did to get out of there. Then what's your process to get that done? What is a unique thing that only you can teach in your unique way that no one else can go anywhere and get, that'll walk somebody to get that end result that you've promised to them? Then from there, what's the outline of the skeleton of the structure of what it is, so you can talk about it in a sales conversation that you have thought through, that you have talked about, not to hop on the phone and randomly ask questions, but to know exactly what to say and when to say it and why it's important, and ask the right questions, get the right information, right? How do you have that conversation? Then how do you get people to talk to you? How do you generate conversations, or what we call leads? How do you generate conversations? And then how do you have a conversation if somebody doesn't want to join right now? How do you still give them value over time to where that moment that comes and they do need your help, they think of you and they work with you? How do you have all that in place? Not just do it one time, but in place and running like a machine every day. You get that thing done, and I guarantee you will make the impact that you were supposed to make in this world. I ask people all the time, what promise did God make to the world when he created you? And whatever that answer is, it's not going to happen if you keep winging it. It's not. It doesn't happen because you wake up one day on super fire and excited. It happens because you've made a personal transformation to get this stuff done on a regular basis. And you get up every day on fire because you know why you're doing it, how you're getting it done, and how to actually move the mountains in your life. That's my message for you today. I'm going to go take my kids to school. Oh, look at my crazy bum shoulder over here. I'm going to take my kids to school. I genuinely, man, I hope you guys take this and run with it if you're in that space that resonated. If you need any help with this, you can either go to trucksteam.com, literally how it sounds, trucksteam.com, or pop over to man, check it, just DM me the word incubator, and I'll happily give the information, the program. So that's it. Take care. God bless you. And I'm back, guys. I'll see you on Wednesday morning. All right, I'm out. See ya.